easy questions. All right, you'll be great. So,
All right, Dennis, we're rolling.
are we ready? All right. Hi guys, I'm Dennis Paulson with our Sports Talk, KVCR Sports. Tonight we got a special guest here, IE product from back in the day.
Hey, can we get him to sit up a little straighter?
Okay.
There we go.
Shall we start over? Hi, this is Dennis Paulson. I'm here today with Marcus Soward, head coach at A.B. Miller High School, Inland Empire product, legend here back in the day, D1 player, played with Tillman back at Arizona State, correct, right?
Yes, sir.
And, you know, back in the day, he was #1 in the nation in high school, but we're going to get into that in a second here. So, Marcus, how did you end up at Eisenhower? Because you were actually a Cajon player at one time, right, weren't you?
Yes, I started at Cajon. I went to Cajon freshman, sophomore, and half of my junior year.
Okay.
And I was living with my grandmother right here on Western.
Okay.
Okay, not very far from here.
Mm-hmm.
And I moved with my father.
Okay.
Junior year, midway. And that's when I transferred to Eisenhower.
Wow, what a lucky catch they were for you, man. I tell you what, so because my first year coaching right out of high school, right out of college was at Fontana. So I was a sophomore coach with Martinez, Casey, and Meach was over there doing the O-line. Mm-hmm. And Fontana's #1 team in the nation, #1 team in the state. You guys are in the top 5 in the state. Yeah. I'm at that game. I mean, how big of a game was that for you to play in high school to knock off the #1 team in the state and nation? How'd that go?
Huge. I mean, the rivalry was bitter, you know.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We didn't like each other.
Hadn't won since 1978.
Right, and it was so intense that, like, if you saw a Fontana guy like at a restaurant or something, I mean, it would be words exchanged. I mean, that's how intense it was. So it was that intense.
People don't understand because it was one school back then. A lot of more town proud. You know, I had Coach Powell in here, Coach Blumenthal in here. Meach, a lot of people talk about Sola too. There was only one school back in the day. You know what I mean? Right. In Rialto, all you had was Eisenhower. In Fontana, you had Fontana. You know, the steel mill played a big factor of that, but you wanted to win. It was such a big win that you guys ripped down the goalpost and the fans ran through the school. And they had to have a day game for the next 2 or 3 years, right?
Yeah, we had a day game. My senior year, we actually played on a Saturday morning.
Wow.
And it was at 10 o'clock. And literally that morning, it was people camped out like hours before the game, waiting to get in. And we probably had like 10,000 people at that Saturday morning game. Easily.
10, I think about 16 or 18, okay? I'll remember as people crossed the street on that restaurant, standing on the, what was it, Denny's or whatever it was back then, Jack in the Box or something like that. They got on the corner of that where Eisenhower was. And
that was, I believe it was Carol's.
Carol's restaurant, okay. So Marcus gets on. After that, he goes on. They've been #1 team in the nation, make it to the CIF championship, and they get knocked off by Mater Dei.
Lost the game. I'll never forget it. We played Mater Dei. They were led by a QB by the name of Billy Blanton.
Okay.
He ended up going to San Diego State. They had David Knuff was on that team. He went to Washington State. But we lost the game. It was, you know, essentially the state championship.
Yeah, and national championship.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
national championship implications.
But to get to play for that, and you were one of the key ingredients for Eisenhower's success. And then in Fontana, you had a kid that went with you to Arizona State, I think a center, right? And one of the guys ended up going to Arizona State playing there. You had Hattaboy and Loya that played at SC. You know what I mean? So when you knocked off some big dogs, I mean, it was big time. Arizona State, what, you played 4 years?
Yes, played for 4 years there.
Offense and defense, right?
Graduated in 1997. Yeah, I played corner.
Okay, corner the whole time?
Yeah,
Didn't play receiver? I thought you played some receiver.
Nah, I was a running back / DB going to Arizona State. Right. And when I got there, they were kind of low on defensive backs, and I made the switch.
Well, you know, you were a passionate player. I mean, that was the one thing I remember watching on TV and seeing that stuff. Played for a national championship in that game too, right? Rose Bowl?
Yes, right? yes. Played in the Rose Bowl against Ohio State.
I mean, what kind of experience can you give high school kids to tell them you played for a national championship in high school, and in college you played for a national championship, you got a scholarship. You know, I've known you for a while now, you know, 14, 15 years as a coach, and you're very passionate in the beginning. I think that's what we do as coaches in the beginning. We're a little more intense still, like our playing days, right? Yeah. Then we mellow out as we get a little older, right?
Yeah. It was a real experience. You know, I remember going out from the locker room onto the field, and it's over 100,000 people there.
Oh, wow.
You know, and it's kind of like, I talk to the kids about it. It like you feel electricity.
Wow.
It feels that, you know,
feel the energy,
that
right?
intense. Yeah, you feel the energy. You're stretching and 100 and something people are screaming and you're looking in the stands and it's something you never forget.
Wow. And you got to play with Tillman, right?
Yes.
The gentleman that died in the friendly fire that they found out later in Iraq and stuff like that. So What kind of player was he?
I consider Tillman a friend, you know, and what people don't know about him was playing with him, he was kind of a practical joker type guy. He, you know, played little jokes and, you know, hide things from your locker, and he was very friendly. Now, when he got on the practice field, he was intense, but off the field, he's a real friendly guy, you know, like to have fun, and that's how I remember him. But I do consider him a friend, and I was saddened by what happened.
Yeah, yeah. And when you come back, so you come back from college, or you get your first coaching job, you come back to the IE, what happens?
Came back, and I was, you know, looking to coach somewhere, so I just kind of drove around the area talking to coaches, and the first job I landed was with Coach Green.
Oh, wow.
At Cajon.
My roommate in college, yeah, we were buddies together. We lived together 4 or 5 years, that's right.
Yep, Jeff brought me on as a young defensive back coach.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. And I remember that. So let's go back to high school a little bit there. So your brother's at Eisenhower now. What sends him over to play for Bruick, and then he ends up going to play at SC and being a first-round draft pick? So what brought him to as much hatred as Fontana and Eisenhower had, what brought him there? I mean, you know, to Fontana.
You know what, the situation was, it wasn't really working well with his basketball career at Eisenhower. And so really it was more of a basketball type move. And when he went over, he played some good basketball on the court with Corey Benjamin and those guys.
Oh, man, how great were they?
And he just happened to be able to play both sports and flourish over at Fohai with Bruick.
Well, I think it was the Sowers period. I mean, both you guys played D1. He ends up being a first-round draft pick. You guys are just a great example for kids in this area. Now you're head coach. Was the head coach at San Bernardino, right?
Yeah, I started as the head coach at San Bernardino High School in 2004.
Okay.
Head coach there for 2 years. From there, I went over to Arroyo Valley. Okay. Coach with Thomas. You know, learned a lot from him. Great head coach. Was at Arroyo for 4 years, and now I'm at Miller. Yeah,
I remember at Miller, you know, the AD actually talked to me because I put my name in the hat and a couple things, and I really wanted the Fontana job, but he asked me about you, and I said, you know, Marcus, great guy, solid coach. I mean, I think you're always in the kids' best interest. You know, you're not just a leader in the classroom. I got to see you in the classroom a few times too when I came in and interrupted you. You know, and asked you to do things for free because that's how I roll. But anyway, they great guy. And then you know, you get them ready because you've been to the next level, and a lot of high school coaches haven't. And that's what I brought some guests in that have played college. You know what to tell the kids, what it takes to get to a 4-year and what it takes to stay there.
Yes.
Right. So what's some advice that you give some of the kids, you know, that you're talking to all the time?
You know, when they get on campus, the first thing we tell our freshmen is you're on a 4-year plan. You know, you got to have your 16 courses, your core courses to get into the school. You have to take an SAT. Okay. You know, you can't get anything lower than a C. Okay. Colleges aren't accepting D's or F's. So the first thing we talk about is their academic plan.
Awesome.
And, you know, we have a study hall set up for our kids right when they come in on campus, and they really have to hit the classroom hard. They got to hit the books hard. And we'll teach them how to play football.
Well, you know what? You coming back to this area and coaching back in this area and giving back to this area, you were a true student athlete. You know what I mean? Because that's what you're preaching. And that's what I think the main thing is that all the good coaches do is they care about the kids after the game is done. You know what I mean? And you're one of those coaches. That's why I wanted to bring you in. Not many guys get to play for a high school national championship and a college one and go to the big show in the D1. So greatest coaching moment. What do you think?
Greatest coaching moment, I would say clinching a playoff berth in the SAL.
Wow.
At Arroyo Valley, we had a great team, coaching with Tony Thomas.
Okay.
We had Robert Fuller on that team.
Wow.
He's a D1 guy. We had Darius Hooker. He was a receiver for us, but that was one of the best years of my career. You know, I was a DC for Tony Thomas's team, and you know, just coaching with him and doing so well that year. Went to the second round, and it was an awesome year.
That's awesome. So my guest today is Marcus Soward. I want to thank you for coming in, Coach. I know you're a busy man. I had to beg him. I had to beg him a few times to get him down here. God bless him for coming in. So, Marcus, good luck this year. We're going to be seeing you in a couple weeks. You know,
appreciate it.
I know a little something, so a little defensive guy too, so we'll have a little fun. Good luck with your game. We both got CBL games tomorrow night, so thanks again for coming in.
Best of luck.
All right, you too. Thank you, Marcus.